invited our resource speaker tonight, of which she will be introducing herself later on. So we will have for this Kapihan session series, I hope you have your coffee or tea or your dinner to talk to us on the curating your research, the Saliksik Incorporated journey. Please help me welcome the CEO of the Saliksik Incorporated, Engineer Jill Manapat. Miss Engineer Manapat, good evening po.
Good evening. Good evening, Nash. Hello po sa lahat.
Good evening
Thank
po.
you for having me.
So yun po. Miss Jill, this will just be a kapihan session, a bit of informal. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, okay lang po ba na Miss Jill, while you're presenting, they can ask their questions?
Yes, oo, okay lang.
Okay lang po. Sige. Miss Jill, I turn over the virtual floor to you.
Alright, thank you. Sige, share ko lang yung screen ko. Wait lang. Ayan, okay. Kita niyo na ba?
Yes po, Miss Jill.
Yes, okay.
Opo.
Alright. So, good evening again, everyone. So, tulad ng sinabi ni Sir Nash, I am Jill Manapat. So, one of the co-founders and Chief Saliksiker or CEO of Saliksik Incorporated. So, later dito sa talk, papakilala ko yung company namin. Pero bago ko pumunta sa Saliksik, papakilala ko muna yung sarili ko para mas may context kung paano nabuo si Saliksik. Okay? So, punta tayo dun sa intro slides muna. Okay. Oh, parang may delay. Ayan, okay. So, ayan, hello again. I'm Jill. I'm an educator. So, teacher rin ako, like Sir Nash, consultant, and a social entrepreneur. Sa educator na aspect, nagtuturo ako dati full-time sa UP Diliman, yung field of study, no, yung field ng engineering is materials engineering. So yung undergrad ko at saka yung master's, materials engineering. Pero nung nagtuturo na ako, nag-introduce ako ng new field din, no, dun sa college, tawag humanitarian engineering. So later on, mababanggit ko naman siya. Nagtuturo rin ako ng konti social entrepreneurship, no, kasama dun sa HEED program, yung Humanitarian Engineering, Entrepreneurship and Design, and product design din. Mostly dun sa product design, more of materials engineering and how it relates to product design. So yun yung mga ginagawa ko as, yung tinuturo ko as educator. As consultant naman, I served as a consultant for DTI Design Center of the Philippines, as well as USAID Stride. So I believe si Tati, no? From Stride si Tati, na-meet nyo kagabi. Yeah. And then last, of course, social entrepreneur, si Saliksik, which is yung meet nitong talk ko tonight. Okay. So just to give you an idea, as a researcher, ito yung mga field of research na ginagawa ko before bago ko mag-jump sa startup world. So, yung master's thesis ko was about clay. So, clay mineral system. So, may ina-extract kaming clay from sa lupa, from the Ilocos soil. And then, I also did some research on 3D printing, mostly materials development related to 3D printing. So, I did these research projects sa Case Western Reserve University sa US. Nagkaroon kasi ng program, yung DOST back then, as a visiting researcher sa inyo. And then, nabanggit ko kanina yung humanitarian engineering. So, may mga research papers din kami about it. So, masaya yung sa humanitarian engineering kasi very interdisciplinary yung field na yun. So, kunwari, itong paper na to, yung sa morality and citizenship, yung co-author ko dyan, yung lead author, si Doc Danny, from Department of Psychology. So, imagine niyo Psych at saka Eng, nagko-collaborate, no? And then, dito naman, yung sa Redefining Philippine Higher Education. Yung co-author ko dito is from the College of Fine Arts, specifically from the Industrial Design Program, so si Sir Tito de la Peña. So yun, doon umiikot talaga, very interdisciplinary yung mga teams that I usually work with. No? As you will see as well later on sa Saliksik. Dahil technopreneurship class to, gusto ko lang din i-share na dun sa tinuturo kong HEAD class, nagkaroon na din ng spin-offs yung mga estudyante. So yung project nila dun sa class, nagiging social enterprise din. So far, may dalawa ng spin-off. So yung isa, ito yung Kloop. So kung makikita niyo dito, ayan, si Glenn at saka ito, si Rick. Si Rick yung student ko sa HEAD, and then si Glenn, yung thesis niya was about plastics recycling. So nag-team up sila kumbaga, and then binuo nila tong Kloop, and they were incubated din sa upscale. I think someone from upscale will also talk in your class, so siya na mag-explain ng incubation program. Pero yun, very proud kami dito sa Kloop kasi nung sumali sila sa isang hackathon, no, yung Climathon Challenge ng Pasig City, kaya nandyan si Mayor Vico Soto. Sila yung nag-first place dun sa hackathon na yun. And then similarly, yung second na spin-off naman, ito very dito talaga lumalabas yung interdisciplinary nature, no, nung pag-solve ng social issues. So yung team na to of students, iba-iba sila ng course. Ito si Tuti, architecture. Then we had someone from the College of Law, si Angelo, and then industrial design and engineering. Tapos si Maki, itong guy here, yung background naman niya is on more of business and innovation. So yung ginawa nila was a birthing tool, no? Birthing tool, tapos sumali sila dun sa James Dyson na design competition, and yun na, nanalo rin sila first place nationals dun sa James Dyson. So why am I sharing this? Kasi yung, sige, mamaya. May isa pa pala. So yung isa pa is, I also co-founded a laboratory in our department, no, yung MADE Lab, together with some of my colleagues in the department. So materials for art, design, and engineering. Ito na yung talagang very math-e-centered. Yung dalawa kasi more of humanitarian engineering. So ito materials engineering centered. Pero same din yung concept. We encourage our students na yung research nila, parang ilalabas nila to the point na magagamit talaga nung intended user nung technology na yun or nung product na yun. So here, for example lang, yung isang team dito, so bumisita kami dun sa Philippine Cerebral Palsy Incorporated or PCPI. Tapos nag-design sila ng tool such that yung CP patients, cerebral palsy patients, they can grasp objects easily. Kasi yun yung problema nila, na they cannot grasp yung mga crayons, pens, spoon and fork, ganyan. So, gumawa sila ng parang ring. Tapos nun, which would allow, si Akon, kaya na niyang magsulat on his own. Whereas nung wala pa yung power ring, parang hindi niya kaya on his own. Ganyan. So, yun yung mga types of projects that they were doing here in MADE Lab. And then last, I think this is my last slide sa intro, no? Sa consultancy work, yun din, parang yung goal ko rin is to apply materials engineering to get products out into the market. Ganyan. So ito naman, actually Region 10, yung dito, Cagayan de Oro handmade paper. So si DTI, kausap na yung company, so si CDO handmade paper. Tapos ako yung parang consultant sa materials aspect. So yung bibigay nung kung anong test, anong characterization yung gagawin dun sa material. Tapos pag lumabas yung results, ano yung pag-analyze, ganyan, yung next steps. And very happy kasi ito yung first project na parang ako on my own, kasi yung iba, estudyante ko yung gumagawa, di ba, startup nila yun, ganyan, project nila yun, pero hindi ako yung exactly hands-on dun sa nangyayari. But this one, I was really a part of it, ng development nung Piñapel, and then nung lumabas na siya sa National Food Fair, so iba talaga yung feeling na yung yung research from that paper, from the data, nagiging actual na product na siya. So yun yung yun lagi yung goal sa mga classes and sa mga advices ko sa university. Yan. Now with all of this, so 2019 to, ganyan, and then the ones before that, mas earlier. Noong 2019 din, I think nabalitaan nyo naman yun. As we have one of the senators, parang naging controversial siya because of her comment, no? Nung, during the budget hearing ng Department of Agriculture. Sabi niya parang baliw na baliw daw sila sa research, aanhin daw ba yung research, ganyan. Hindi daw niya naiintindihan yung research nila, lalo na daw yung farmers, no? So, that really parang raised a red flag among the researchers, the research community. But then, I guess I'm sharing this kasi gusto ko i-highlight yung na-emphasize nitong quote na to, one of which is yung hindi naiintindihan yung research. So I think us as researchers, we have that, merong gap dun sa research communication na part, na parang hindi masyadong na-appreciate yung importance ng research na ginagawa natin. Okay? And we all know that, kayo, I'm sure nagre-research kayo right now, no, sa college, and I'm sure you know how important, how crucial research is in terms of countries' growth and development. So, yeah. After that, so October 2019 yun, pero hindi pa agad nabuo yung idea ng Saliksik. And then, the following year, Q1, yung March 2020, nagkaroon na ng COVID. And that time, I was part of this research project sa department na related, COVID-related siya. Parang we were developing this material na alternative sa K95 na mask, no? Pero locally produced, ganyan. And then, as usual, syempre pag may research ka, ask ka for grants, ganyan. And then yung process na yun, mahaba siya. And kami as researchers, nandiyan na yung COVID, parang may sense of urgency na kailangan natin magsimula, ganyan. So that begged the question back then, is there no other way to jumpstart a research project while we are waiting for the funding to be processed, to be released by the funding agency. So yun yung question na tinanong ko sa sarili ko nun. And then tamang-tama naman, si Kubo, parang ano rin yun incubator, ganyan ano. Sila yung organizer, is organizer nung Startup Weekend Philippines. So nakatanggap ako ng email, parang sa marketing email nila, asking for ideas na isasali sa Startup Weekend. Tapos noon, out of the blue lang, very random, sa phone nga lang ako nag-fill up ng form. Sinubmit ko yung idea na yun, yung parang, yung idea is crowdfunding for research. So if you're familiar with Kickstarter, Indiegogo, no? Parang ganun siya, pero research yung kina-crowdfund. So parang yung public yung magpopondo ng research para habang inaantay yung funding agency, pwede nang magsimula ng mga preliminary runs, ganyan, tatakbo na yung research. So yun yung sinubmit kong idea. And then, it so happened, so April, yung Startup Weekend, so doon nabuo yung team namin. Hindi ko sila lahat kilala except for Angelo. So nakita niyo siya kanina, di ba? Isa student ko sa HIB. But the rest of the team, nag-meet lang kami doon sa Startup Weekend event. We won first place. So parang yun yung naging validation namin na, uy, parang we're on to something here. Sige nga, ituloy natin, i-build. Ganyan. So, April yun, yung Startup Weekend. May, nagsimula na kaming gumawa ng MVP. So, yung testing, ganyan. Testing, beta testing. So, yung research group namin na gumagawa ng mask. So, hindi na ako kasali kasi nag-startup na ako. Pero, yung group na yun, sila yung parang sinama namin sa beta testing. And then, that time, syempre, nag-fail pa siya, hindi pa namin naabot yung funding goal, no? Kasi, syempre, hindi pa naman kami kilala, ganyan, wala pang marketing and all that. So, around July, we joined an incubator, yung Make Sense. Okay, you can search them, Make Sense Philippines. And then, dun talaga kami nag-focus on community building. Kasi at first, yung first namin business model was crowdfunding. So, syempre, very heavy on community building para you need to build the crowd to fund the research projects. So, every month, meron kaming mga community events. Yan, yung Saliksikat, nag-feature kami ng mga Filipino researchers, ganyan. And then yung Saliksik, mga foreign researchers naman yung pinifeature namin. Yan. And then, nirun namin yun hanggang November. Tapos around October, November, nag-beta test kami ulit. Tapos noon napansin namin na hindi pa rin nami-meet yung goal kahit na sobrang dami ng, ang laki ng increase sa followers namin, meron na kaming community, ganyan. Pero parang hindi pa ready yung Philippine public to shell out cash to fund a research na alam mo, hindi naman nila makikita actually yung tangible or kung hindi nila makikita agad, no? Kasi research takes time. So yun, na-realize namin that we needed to pivot. And I guess dito papasok yung ecosystem na binanggit ni Sir Nash kanina, no? Kasi I mentioned earlier, no, that I was a consultant for Stride. And when I pitched to yung parang boss ko sa Stride, no, kay Eric, yung idea ng Saliksik, sabi niya, parang so far, hindi masyadong valuable for them yung crowdfunding aspect. Pero very valuable yung pag-laymanize namin ng research projects. Kasi dun sa website namin, sa crowdfunding website, parang hindi technical yung pagkakapresent namin ng mga projects para maintindihan siya ng public. Kasi non-technical people naman yung magfa-fund ng mga project, ganyan. So sabi niya, ko-connect kita sa kina Miss Ket, ayan, yung sa Orbes, ayan. So, doon napasok si Saliksik sa ecosystem, sa innovation ecosystem ng Region 10. So, December, we had talks with DOST 10, ayan, si RDL and his team, tapos na yung Aura Chamber, and then, sila yung parang naging first, si Region 10 as a whole, no? Yung naging first client ni Saliksik. So, imbes na crowdfunding model, naging database model na kami, which I'll explain later. Pero basically, parang we will curate the research projects of the higher education institutions, so universities like yours, in a way na maiintindihan ni industry. Kasi yung nalaman namin from DOST saka sa Oro Chamber is, yun nga, may gap on the research communication part. Parang pagka in-explain ni researcher yung output niya, hindi masyadong na-appreciate ni industry kasi very technical yung pagkakapresent, yung jargon, ganyan, nandyan siya. So, kami yung nag-laymanize, no? In such a way na mas madali siyang maintindihan. So, yan. Mga December yun. And then the whole of 2021, we were building the MVP, yung minimum viable product. So, yung website, we were onboarding researchers. Ayan. Sumama na rin kami dun sa ibang events sa Region 10, ano? So, yung Regional Innovator Summit, tapos nun yung mga meetings ng DOST 10, ganyan. So, we were presenting to them. So, with that, I'll introduce to you now kung ano ba si Saliksik. So, it's a platform that brings together the main players in the innovation ecosystem. So, yung main players na to, yan yung government, yung academe or yung innovation generators. So, nandyan yung researchers natin. And then the innovation adopter. So, sa innovation adopter, hinati pa namin siya, hindi lang industry, no? Aside from industry, sinama namin yung public. Kasi sa industry naman, parang hindi rin sila mag-a-adopt ng isang product or service kung hindi siya bebenta sa public. So, parang kailangan may buy-in from both, no? So, important na isama lagi si public, lahat ng the people, no, dun sa innovation ecosystem. And then the challenge that we are trying to address, so yun yung nabanggit ko kanina, no, industries are finding it hard to look for appropriate market-ready research projects to adopt. And then parang may tatlong reasons kaming na-discover kung bakit ganito. So one is yung research communication, and then yung decentralized and incomplete research databases. So currently kasi meron namang mga databases, kaya lang hiwa-hiwalay sila. Halimbawa, si DOST, may database siya. Si IPOPHIL, Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, may database din siya. And then some of the schools, meron din silang kanya-kanyang database. Pero kung ikaw sa industry, isa-isahin mo lahat yun, di ba? So parang ang very time consuming. So gusto namin mangyari is isang site na lang yung pupuntahan ni industry. Then pag nag-search siya doon, ma-access niya all of these different databases. Yan. And then next is yung limited number of personnel sa mga tech transfer offices in the HEIs, in the higher education institutions. So may book na nilabas noong 2020 saying that most of the RDIs, no, yung research development institutes, they usually only have 1 or 2 people in their tech transfer offices. So imagine niyo kung halimbawa sa isang school, isa, dalawang tao lang, pero sila yung bahala sa tech transfer nung lahat ng research na research output ng isang university. So, hindi talaga kaya, babagal talaga yung magiging tech transfer process. So, we want to help in that aspect as well. Yan. Just to give you a glimpse, ito yung itsura ng platform. So, as I mentioned earlier, it's a single platform to connect potential adopters to innovations from all over the country. So, ito yung aming homepage. Nandyan yung search bar. Pwede kang mag-type lang ng mga keywords or title, ganyan. And then, pwede ka rin mag-refine ng mga search results, no? So, by sector, by location in the Philippines, ano yung nature ng technology, and other related categories. And then, pagka nag-click ka ng isang search result, it will bring you here, dun sa research page. So, dito na makikita mo yung information. So, anong sector siya, ano yung technology readiness level, yung IP status, and then yung need nung ito rin, yung kung sino yung innovation generator, etc. And then, nandito rin, parang may 4 points lang. So, hindi siya parang technical paper. So, may overview, ano yung features and specs, and then why you should adopt it, saka ano yung unique advantage nung technology or nung innovation na yun. And meron din kaming yung parang we make it easy for people to connect. So, yan, may schedule a meeting feature din dun sa site. And then, of course, bawat institution, so yung universities or business chambers, basta any institutions onboarded on the platform, meron silang sariling customizable na page kasi very important yung branding ng organization na yun. Ayan, so very quickly lang, kasi sabi ni Sir Nash, maganda rin daw na isama ko yung value prop, no? Yung value proposition ni Saliksik. So, dahil multi-sided yung platform namin, so may tatlong value prop for each of the yung each side, kumbaga. So for the innovation generators, of course, the value is they can bring their research into the real world, and then it's a way of showcasing their work as well. And it also allows them to focus on their research kasi yung paggawa ng website, paggawa ng database, and pag-maintain nun, very resource intensive siya. So, gusto namin na si researcher, mag-focus na lang siya on research, and then kami nang bahala dun sa website development and maintenance. Then for the adopters, so nabanggit ko kanina, visit just one site for consolidated research information. And then if they want to diversify their product line, no, kung naghahanap sila ng bagong produkto na ilalabas sa market, pwede na silang pumunta sa Saliksik, and then makikita nila kung ano ba yung up and coming ng mga innovations. And then pwede na silang mauna, i-adopt na nila agad. And then kung kunwari sa mga MSMEs, no, na wala pang research capability within their company, they can post their R&D needs on the platform as well. And then, Saliksik will connect them dun sa universities para yung mga research questions na sinasagot ng mga estudyante katulad ninyo, alam natin na relevant talaga sa market kasi galing mismo dun sa mga companies yung problem. And then last, value for government. Of course, it complements government initiatives that promote research and innovation, and then it supports the whole government industry academe ecosystem. And it also empowers the innovators who do not yet qualify for government programs. Kasi aminado din naman sa DOST, in-interview namin sila na may limit din yung budget nila, na yung mga grants, no? Yung mga grants nila, may limit yung amount na yun. So they cannot accommodate everyone. So for those researchers na hindi na na-accommodate ng DOST, parang may another way for them to advance the TRL level of their research projects through the Saliksik platform. And so just to bring it closer to home, no, sa Region 10, and to give you an idea, so ito yung ginagawa namin ngayon. Pag nagpunta kayo sa saliksikph.com, yung makikita yung database doon is the Orobest Regional Research Database. So yung goal namin is to parang create 20 projects from Region 10, no? And then have 8 of them, at least 8 of them adopted through the platform. Okay? So kung meron kayong research dyan na at least TRL4, contact Saliksik. So just an example, so meron ng isang project doon sa platform na may nakausap na siyang industry, no? May potential adopter na siya. So itong okra pod gel. So yeah. Hopefully we'll have more projects from Xavier University on the platform din. And then just to introduce our team, so sabi ko kanina, very important yung diversity, no, when you solve social problems. No? So yung team namin, 7 kami when we started in Startup Weekend, Philippines. And yung iba-iba talaga yung fields namin. So merong maalam sa dev, product dev. So ito yung coder namin, kaya Chief Saliksik Coder. Merong maalam sa creatives, so yung mga graphics, ganyan. And then si Carlo naman more of sa information and security kasi work siya sa cybersecurity. And then Angelo, of course, yung sa legal and intellectual property. And then si Vincent, doctor siya. So in terms of yung mga health research, ganyan. So may inputs lagi si Vincent dyan. And then Paul is more of biz dev. And then ako naman, parang all over the place. Of course, yung research background din, no? I work in the government, yung different research groups, ganyan. So yun naman yung dala ko rin dun sa team. And then trivia lang, no? If you're parang planning to do a startup right after grad, and then right now kasi lahat online, di ba? So kung natatakot kayo na baka mahirap dahil lahat online, possible siya. In our team, so we met 2020, hanggang ngayon hindi pa kami nag-meet in person. Kaming 7, pati yung mga interns namin, ganyan. So never pa kami nag-meet in person ever since lagi lang kaming online, no? Pero yun. At saka yung kagandahan din ng online, pwede kang kumuha ng co-founder na malayo, no? Hindi kailangan na lahat kayo nasa Manila lang, ganyan. Kasi si Anthony, yung CTO namin, he's from Baguio. Actually, our entire product team now, 3 sila, they're all based in sa CAR, sa North, sa Cordilleras. Yeah. And then, of course, aside from building that trust internally within the team, kahit online lang, no? We also were able to build trust externally. So, ito yung partners namin right now. So, mostly sa Region 10. And then we've worked with, ito yung incubator namin and yung funder, yung parang nag-sponsor sa amin dun sa incubator. And then right now, we are incubated in Upscale. So, before I end, I think last 2 or 3 slides na lang to, I'd like to share yung different lessons learned din, no? Dito sa startup journey. So first is yung self-awareness. So I think very important siya na alam mo kung ano yung weaknesses and yung strengths mo before you go into the startup world. Kasi it will keep insecurity at bay and make you more confident about what you're capable of. At saka yung magiging mas malinaw yung roles ninyo dun sa startup, mas madali din siya mag-assign nung roles. And then I also realized that having a startup is a humbling experience. So building a startup is a never-ending learning process. So talagang ano siya, learning as you do, hindi lang learning as you go. Parang yung natuto ko ng di oras ng bookkeeping, ganyan, accounting. So yung mga, syempre, materials, engineering yung background ko, di ba? So wala akong alam sa mga ganun. So, yun, very humbling experience. Parang may beginner's mindset ka lagi. And then last, of course, focus on impact and how to scale it. Yung isang natutunan ko rin is building a startup is one of the most effective ways to create impact. Kasi talagang very ano siya eh, it's really out there in the real world, yung mga nakakasalumuha mo. Kasi di ba sa academe parang medyo sheltered ka pa sa loob ng university, ganyan. Pero pagka nag-build ka ng company, talagang nandun ka na out in the real world and then yung products mo, ginagamit na talaga siya ng mga tao kahit MVP pa lang siya. So yun, it's a good way to create impact and scale it. And then for those of you who are thinking of building a startup, there's this article by the Harvard Business Review. No, I encourage you to search it. Ang title niya, "Are You Cut Out to Be an Entrepreneur?" May 3 questions that you can ask yourself, no, para medyo mag-gauge mo kung pang magsusurvive ka ba dun sa startup. So first is, are you interested in solving other people's problems? Kasi yun naman yung essence ng startup, di ba? There's a gap, there's a problem that you want to solve. And more often than not, either pwede kasi na hindi naman directly related sa'yo yung problem na yun. No? Hindi mo siya problema, pero kailangan mo siyang isolve through your business. And then another one is, do you enjoy selling? Kasi kahit hindi ikaw yung nasa sales, no, sales role sa startup ninyo, hindi lang naman product or service yung binibenta sa isang startup. No? Kahit regardless of your role, you will need to sell your ideas, you will need to sell your vision. Pagka naghahanap ka ng funding for your startup, you will need to sell the promise of your company to potential investors, no? So iba-iba yung aspects ng selling, hindi lang pagbebenta ng produkto. So kailangan ma-enjoy mo siya kasi gagawin mo siya ng madalas pagka nasa startup ka. Wala namang prior sales experience needed, pero maganda na pag pumasok ka dun sa startup world, yung mindset mo, alam mong magbebenta ka. Magbebenta ka ng ideas, magbebenta ka ng vision, magbebenta ka ng produkto, ganyan. Okay. And then last is, how resilient are you? So when you enter the startup world, you should be in it for the long game, okay, for the long haul. Kasi ano talaga siya, hindi naman siya agad mag-fly. In the first 1 or 2 years, hindi pa kayo kikita, ganyan, ano? So, and you constantly develop and grow and scale your startup. So, matagal siya na panahon. And there will be many instances na, alam mo yun, yung parang mag-fail yung product, ganyan, maraming iterative process siya. So, maraming failures at kailangan makabangon ka ulit pag nadapa kayo, ganyan. So, kailangan talaga ng resilience. Second siya. Okay, so I think this is my last slide. So, I'll just leave this to you, no? Lagi namin sinasabi sa Saliksik that the solution to every societal problem begins with research. Pero yung impact ng research na yun will only be felt, no, if it is successfully transferred to society. Kaya sa simula pa lang, pagka nag-thesis kayo halimbawa, dun pa lang sa research proposal nyo, isipin nyo na paano ko ba ito ita-transfer eventually to society para magamit siya ng mga tao. Okay? And with that, thank you. If you want to showcase your research, ayan, you can visit our site, contact us through our email, or message us through Facebook. Thank you for listening. Napahaba ata, sorry. Pero if you have any questions, ganyan, I'll be happy to answer them now.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jill, for that very comprehensive presentation. So, leave it to everybody if you have questions or clarifications for Ms. Jill. So basically what Miss Jill is trying to say here is that her experience on how the okay. We have a question here, Miss Jill. What were the challenges you encountered in Saliksik?
Ang dami. Which aspect? Sa ah, sige, ano bang anuhin natin? Um, ang daming aspects. In terms of biz dev, no, sa research or experience siguro, in terms of research, yung pinapasok na research, yung first kasi na pumasok sa isip ko na challenge is,
Yes daw.
yes, okay. So yung pagpasok ng research. Sige. Yung isang challenge, I guess, as a startup is, one, syempre hindi pa kami kilala. So in terms of credibility, no, parang we were ER, banking, dun sa network namin. So yung network na nabuo namin sa akin, sa university, and then yung co-founders ko rin, yung mga kakilala nila dun sa ibang government agencies that they worked in before, ganyan, ano. So, parang you always have to build that trust first bago sila mag-onboard din. And then another challenge, I guess, is in terms of yung sa business, when we are running the business, no, it's challenging kasi lahat kami part-time. So walang full-time right now, no, may mga day jobs. Yung iba kong co-founders, parang ako lang yata yung walang full-time job. Part-time faculty ako ngayon. Pero the rest of my co-founders, they have full-time jobs. So parang yun, in that aspect, medyo challenging din siya. And then, yun nga, add mo pa yung fact na may pandemic, tapos no, di pa kami nag-meet before. So, yun, that's another challenge. Pero, naano naman namin, parang magto 2 years na kami pero hindi pa naman kami nalalagasan. So, I guess we're doing something right in that aspect. So, yun. Yung dun sa challenge on building trust, no, before mag-onboard yung researchers, I guess nakakatulong din talaga yung, kunwari, in our case, si Stride yung nag-introduce sa amin kina Nash sa Oro Chamber, no? So dahil may credibility si Stride, no, parang nadala, in a way, medyo mas madaling nakapasok si Saliksik, no, dun sa network ni Region 10 because of that introduction. Pero yeah, right now, medyo challenging pa rin for the other regions. Okay, may question si Oliver. How many research projects are currently in your platform? Yung nakapublish right now, kasi nag-start pa lang formally yung project nung November or December, no? So may 3 projects na nandun, and then meron pang 3 nakapila, pero yung goal is 20 for this database. So, sa mga research, does Saliksik concretize these research ideas? Okay. So, yung role namin as Saliksik is just really to showcase and promote them in a laymanized way. Yun yung ano namin. Pero hindi kami nagiging involved mismo dun sa research project itself na ganito yung design ng experiment, ganito yung ganyan. Hindi. Dun lang kami sa pag-showcase and pag-connect ng industry sa kanong researcher. How was it possible for the team to be this successful and work effectively, even if fully online lang ang mode of communication? Okay. So, more of no, parang nag-crash course kami sa HR, Human Resource. At nung 2020, nung nagsa-start kami, ang dami naming team building activities online. Parang every month, meron kaming, tawag namin sa Saliksik Club, game night, no? May game night kami, and then we have, may Discord server kami. So, in terms of communication, parang madali lang siya. May Discord, may Messenger, ganyan. So, very well connected kami online. And then we place processes within the company that would allow us to constantly parang evaluate how the team is. So parang may reviews kami and may one-on-ones din sila with me as the CEO. So I could check kung parang aligned pa ba sa goals nila sa buhay na nandito pa rin sila sa saliksik, yung mga ganun bang ganung bagay. So yun yung, I think yun yung nakatulong, kaya very close kami kahit di pa kami nag-meet in person. Mga activities and constant check-ins. So nag-provide lang ang saliksik ng networks or opportunities for the researchers para mas mabigyan ng exposure. Right now, yes, yung goal ng database is that one, to give, parang to level off the playing field, na kasi ngayon, ang nangyayari sa industry, ang usually niyang pinupuntahan, yung mga kilalang universities, no? Yung well-known, yung malalaki, ganyan. So, pero paano yung mga smaller or lesser-known universities na meron din namang innovative projects na ginagawa. So, through Saliksik, parang dahil dun pupunta sa industry, dun siya magsusearch, ang ilalabas na search results, kasama lahat, hindi lang dun sa malalaking schools. So, yun yung namin right now. Pero, after this database, yung mga naka-line up namin na next features is all, parang meron din kaming research management system para matulungan yung tech transfer offices, ganyan. Yung mga capacity building for researchers, no? Para doon pa lang sa pag-craft ng research proposals, kasi when we were doing mga interviews, parang yung iba, merong mga established na ready na for commercialization, pero meron ding iba na kailangan pa ng assistance, no? Kasi nagsisimula pa lang sila in building their research track record in their universities. So we want to help in that aspect. Si Crystal, how do you ensure the credibility of the research? Do you have a screening process? Yes, oo. So sa naman namin, bago siya i-post sa website, internally, siniscreen naman namin siya. So, depende, and then kung wala sa field of study namin yung research, parang may network of researchers naman si Saliksik, no? And we, kunwari dun sa advisory board namin, may network din sila, ganyan. So, we ask for assistance din in screening those research projects.
Wow, thank you so much for all the questions. So, meron pa ba? So, I think in case you have further questions, okay, we have here.
Ayun. Do the researchers need to pay to be featured on Saliksik? Yung researchers mismo, no. Si Saliksik ay B2B. So, ang kinakausap namin ay yung university or yung mismong institution. Tapos yung institution yung magbabayad per project. Yes. Sure. Last po, does Saliksik offer internship? Yes, occasionally, nag-open kami occasionally for internships. Like last November, we had a call. And then, I think, either March or maybe April, abangan nyo, magkakaroon din kami ng mag-open kami for interns. Yes. Who will assess, evaluate the TRL of a research po? Okay. So, kung meron ng tech transfer office dun sa university, usually yung tech transfer office, kaya na nila mag-assess kung ano yung TRL, no? Pero kung halimbawa wala pang tech transfer office yung university, internally, we can also assess kasi meron naman kaming IP, intellectual property expert, ganyan, no? Dun sa within our team. So, once we have the details of the research, pwede rin namin i-assess kung ano yung TRL level niya. How was the transition from being crowdfunded to having partners? Was there a point where you felt that the startup was shaky? If meron, how was it? Parang yung pag-pivot namin. No? Okay, yung pag-pivot namin from the crowdfunding model to the database model that we have now, hindi naman siya super hirap in a way kasi unang-una, parang lagi kaming nire-remind nung BizDev person namin, no, si Paul, na fall in love with the problem, not the solution. So, uh, parang, so, kung hindi nag-work yung crowdfunding platform namin before, which is our solution, no, nung una, parang medyo madali naman namin siyang na-let go. So, nag-jump kami agad dun sa, uy, parang mas may value tong database. So, talon tayo dun sa database. Pero yung crowdfunding, hindi naman namin siya diniscard completely. Parang nag-ano rin kami, pinark lang namin siya. So, down the line, pagka mas may revenue, may stable revenues na kami, no, we can parang do the crowdfunding model again. No? We can introduce that again. Was there a point where you felt that the startup was shaky? Yes, of course. I mean, even now, hindi pa naman kami super established dahil nga lahat pa part-time, ganyan. And then we are still constantly refining our business model. Kaya nasa incubation program pa kami ngayon. I guess yun yung pag-resolve namin. Dahil shaky pa kami at medyo nangangapa pa, kumbaga, we formed our advisory board, no, who we meet every quarter. So pagka may mga tanong kami about anything, yung mga challenges namin dun sa company, in terms of BizDev, how we run it, ganyan, may matatanungan kami. And then yung incubation program din, same, may mga mentors dun. So constantly, nag-guide naman kami in this journey, no? So hopefully nasa right path kami right now because of our mentors and advisors. Any other questions? Okay, so sige, keep the questions coming.
Go po, ask your questions. So, Miss Jill is here.
Ay, ayun, may isa pa pala. Do they also invest, okay, ang Saliksik po ba, do they also invest in the researchers and do they also have investors parang research? Okay. Si Saliksik mismo, hindi kami nag-i-invest dun sa research projects na nasa platform. Na talagang parang broker kami right now with our database models. Yung potential adopters, so yung si industry or kung may LGU man na maging interesado, ganyan, no? So sila yung pwedeng mag-invest. Depende sa kasunduan nila nung researcher, no? So medyo labas na kami dun sa agreement nila. Pero pwede gawin ni company yun na parang i-adopt na kita, parang bibilhin ko na tong technology na to and then within the company na siya parang itataas yung TRL level, pwedeng ganun. Pwede rin parang ila-license out na, ganyan, kung commercial ready na yung innovation, ila-license out na ni researcher, ganyan. So, pero si Saliksik, hindi kami nag-invest. Where or how do you profit from this, ma'am? Okay. So, yung ano namin is, may curation fee kami ayun, may curation fee. So, si university, pagka nag-onboard siya, kunwari, dito sa Orobest na database, may 20 na projects na pinasok, no? So, each of those projects, may bayad yun para bago siya maipasok. So, yun yung ano. Yung idea is, si university, kada project na ipasok niya sa platform, may bayad siya. So, dun kami kumikita.
Wow, I see very interesting questions from the team. Thank you so much for your questions. So, just to wrap it, hindi naman wrap it up, pero just to also add to what Miss Jill said, di ba, yesterday we learned that the ecosystem is there. And now, right now, Miss Jill is sharing to you how she made use of that ecosystem to build Saliksik. And yun nga, may nagtatanong pa if, ito, email at saka internship. So,
Yeah.
I think Miss Princess, the emails are shown right now. I think this is their company email. So I think Miss Jill would be writing her. Okay lang ba, Miss Jill? There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And also, if you have questions naman, feel free to. Okay lang ba, Miss Jill? Magkapihan session tayo again with them.
Oo naman,
Oh,
sige.
sige, prepare tayo. Just send us a message po. You can message me or you can also message directly si Miss Jill. So I
Mhm.
think this was a very productive session po, Miss Jill. Actually, this is a mix of civil and chemical engineering students, some of which can't be here this evening, but they will be able to view the recording of this session. So also, I think Miss Jill, can we ask a copy of your presentation so that maybe they'd like to review on it?
Yeah, sure.
Sige
Sige.
po. Sige po.
No
Salamat
problem.
po. So, yun po. Si Miss Jill, di ba, nagko-connect yesterday, si Stride. Ngayon, si Miss Jill. On the next
Yeah.
lessons, yung incubator naman ni Miss Jill ang i-invite natin, yung upscale. So, uh, there, Miss Jill, they'll be learning about design thinking. So, how do they, just like you, how would they translate their ideas into just like this one, Saliksik, di ba? So, I think what is also unique sa story ni Miss Jill is that uh, you you can work with a team. If you have this good idea, you can work with the team. Hindi naman to na ito ang idea ko, I'll be the one to develop it. No. So, di ba? We saw in the experience of Miss Jill that she's working with a team na 2 years na hindi nagkikita physically. So,
Yeah.
it's doable po. I mean, just the openness. If you have this idea, the openness to undergo the process, the openness to be with the group, because sa presentation nga ni Miss Jill, they are composed of very diverse professionals. So, yun, I hope this session was relevant to everyone who is here, and I have shared the feedback form of which we will know, Miss Jill and I will know your thoughts, and maybe where we can improve, or maybe saan makakapasok si Miss Jill na pwede kanyang tulungan. So, uh, I think that's it. That's it on my part. I think Miss Jill delivered it so well that less inputs from me. So yun, if you have no more further questions, maybe I can end this session. So,
Thank you. Maraming salamat.
Miss Jill, when we see each other again physically, actually kami ni Miss Jill, we've been working for around more than a year, pero di pa rin kami physically nakikita.
Yes, so sana makapunta ako dyan.
Yeah, yeah, Miss Jill. Well, we hope maybe when we have the okra, the okra pod gel that Miss Jill is showing, is that's actually one of our pioneer research that we are doing right now. So, di ba, I think this week, Miss Jill, no, we met
Yes,
Wednesday.
so oo.
This week pala yun.
Yes.
Oh. So, to everyone, if you have questions or clarifications, meron namang email dyan si Miss Jill. You can send it directly to her, or you can course it through me. So, for further, the recording of this session will be made available to your e-learn, and also the feedback form that I've shared here will also be available on your e-learn. So, without further ado, if you have no more questions, Miss Jill, in behalf of this of our technopreneurship class, section EA and E2B3, we would like to thank you for sharing your expertise for tonight. I know we've learned a lot from the type of questions that we've gathered here. So, yun, I won't be keeping you long, everyone. So before we end, may I have the opportunity to take a documentary photo to everyone. So if you could please turn on your cameras. So, okay, let's see your handsome and beautiful faces. Our future civil and chemical engineers.
Chemical engineer, so
Sige po, I think yung iba baka mahina ang signal. Sige po, may I get a thumbs up from everyone? Okay, thumbs up po tayo. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Another 1, 2, 3. Thank you so
Flash,
much.
ikaw. Naka-off yung camera mo.
I'm Miss Jill, I'm on the road.
Ay, okay.
Apologies to everyone.
Sige. Alright.
Apologies to everyone. So may I, before we to end this session, may I request someone to lead us into the closing prayer? May I request